Hi, everyone. This is a new edition of Reline Unknown. Today, I am joined by Vince Marano. We are going to be talking about Acquaint and some of their pipe inspection tools. Thanks for joining me today, Vince.
Thank you very much, Cassie. I appreciate the opportunity.
So I got to know Vince about a month ago. We were introduced. We both represent a product called Bullet Liner. And with that product, there is an entire different element of it, which is before you even look at lining the pipe, you need to know what's happening inside the pipe, right, Vince?
That's correct. You want to inspect it because when you inspect it, you can find out if you have to, do repair the whole pipe or just part of the pipe, or maybe it's in good shape. You don't really know. And a lot of people just look at that first failure and think, oh my gosh, the pipe's ready to go. It's 30, 40 years old. Let's go replace it. The idea is to do the inspection so you don't have to spend all that money to do the replacement, and you know exactly what part of the pipe you may have to repair and how you can extend its life so that you save on your capital dollars.
Awesome. So before we get into the pipe tools, Vince, just so the audience knows, just give us a high level background of yours. Like, how did you get into the pipe world? How did you get into pipe inspections?
Okay, my background is actually as a process engineer, chemical engineer, and I've been in wastewater for over 40 years. And for a good portion of that, 25 years, I was in sulfide control and corrosion control. And I was actually on the side of the fence of trying to stop the enhanced corrosion of pipelines in wastewater. And I was working with Chris McDonald, and he was working with me on some of the products I was selling. And at one point, he flipped it around on me in 2019 and said, instead of me working for you, how about you come work for me? I'd really like to have a process guy, and I'll teach you about pipe. And I said, because I knew about corrosion of pipe, but I didn't really know much about pipe. So it's been about 3.5 years that I got started in the pipe business specifically.
All right. So you and I are about the same. I'm just at 4.5 years. It'll be 5 years this summer. So yeah.
I just thought they were long cylinders in the bottom in the ground. Found out a lot more. Yeah.
It's a fun industry. I will say that though. So your 3.5 years, was that all in pipe inspections and FFRP, which is the flexible fabric pipe?
Yes, that was that's the only thing we were doing. CPM pipelines, consultative type rep, and we were working predominantly in pressure pipes, and we were looking at the inspections. And then the concept was, once we found the problem, then we have a lot of different solutions to repair that problem, or and completely reline it with the bullet liner. So that's sort of what I've been doing.
Awesome. So as we start to talk about the inspection tools, I know that you're going to give us a visual for each one as we talk about what they do. Are all of these for pressured pipe specifically?
Yeah, all the tools that Acquaint make are for pressure pipe. Acquaint got started back in around 2015. Some guys who've been in the industry for a lot of years, I don't know exactly, but 15, 20 years were in the oil and gas industry. And what they decided to do is form this company, Acquaint, and take technology that's been around for 20, 30 years that the oil and gas pipeline guys use, and let's move it over to the water pipeline business because nobody else was using that type tool. And it's based on the ultrasonic technology as opposed to magnetic wave technology. And the second thing they could do is they could look at every type pipe, not just ones that had metallic components. So that's sort of an introduction to Acquaint.
Nice. So let's maybe dive into the first tool that you're going to talk to us about today.
Well, I'll call it their signature tool because it's the one that they have done the most and it fits the most applications. And I'm just going to pull up a picture and share my screen. You have to let me be the host, I think. It won't let me share my screen.
I
Oh,
just made you the host. Yep.
there you go. Now I can do it. Okay. This is on our website. So on cpmpipelines.com. And the first tool that I really want to show you is and this is all on the website, which is great, is the Aquarius technology. And what the Aquarius is a tool that works from 8 inches up to 54 inches. It basically is a soft foam pig. And if you can look at the back of the tool where my mouse is running over, you can see this roller here is just for measuring the distance along there, but all the sensors are on the back here. So the tool, as you see them doing here, is being pushed into the pipe. So we have an entry point for the pipe. That entry point can be about 30% smaller. So if you have a 24-inch pipe, you can probably get it through a 16-inch opening. It can go in at a 90-degree angle, as you see it horizontally or on a Y fitting. Anything that the normal pig can get in, this can go in. It is made extra long so that as it goes down the pipe, it won't roll over itself. And basically the motive force, once you get it in and you close up the side that you're putting it in, you basically are going to use water as its motive force. So if it's a water line, you're just going to pump the water behind it, or let the system pump the water behind it and push it through the pipe. It moves about a half a meter a second. And that gives you a very high resolution picture using the ultrasonic technology. Again, we're doing this from a high viewpoint. We can go maybe a later podcast, talk about the actual way that the UT measures all of the parameters we're looking at. The unit will go through, again, about a half meter. So really, all you have to do is make sure you have a good entry point, a good exit point, and then the water for pumping it. And if it's in wastewater, all we do is put a 50-foot slug of clear water behind the tool before we use the wastewater pumps to push the tool through the pipe.
And how far would you say, would you need to go, if I have a 6,000 foot run, do I need to go through all 6,000 feet? Or is there a percentage of pipe that you say this can go through and then we have a good enough picture, a good enough idea?
Yeah, well, if you're going at a half meter per second or a foot and a half per second, then you're going to get a high resolution picture. The limit on the distance that the tool can go is the battery life. And that's about, I think it's about 12 hours. So if you do the calculations, you can get through a fair length of pipe. As long as you have an opening no smaller than the 16 inches, I'm using 24 inches as my example, then it will continue to go through. So if it has pipe size changes, we just pick the largest pipe and then it will be condensed down as it comes through smaller pipe. The things that this tool will measure in virtually any kind of pipe is the first two layers. So if we have a multi-layer pipe like PCCP or bar wrap pipe, we're going to look at the inner layer and then the can on those type pipes. If we're talking about AC pipe or PVC or HDPE, which is just a monolithic one layer pipe, then we're going to be able to see through that layer. And the data we'll get is thickness of the pipe, which is a very standard thing in the industry, ovality of the pipe, especially with PVC and HDPE and other types of pipes, if it's too oval, then you know it wasn't compacted properly. So that's important information. We will get the joint gaps and the joint information from this. We'll measure joint angle. So again, from an installation perspective, we're going to be able to see all of these different parameters. And as far as I know, it's the only tool in the world that can look at, in the water business, that looks at the joints and gives you a report on those joints. And so I picked this tool first because this is an easy one to visualize. And the way that it operates is you will put or the way we run it is simply you start with a cleaning pig to go through it, which looks a lot like that soft foam pig that you see in the picture. You put a cleaning pig through it to push any solids and stuff out of the way. Then we put a proofing pig, which just makes sure it's a dummy type pig that doesn't have the sensors on it to go through the pipe. All of them, by the way, are tracked with, we put tracking devices on each and every one, and we track the pipe each time from the cleaning pig to the proofing pig, and then finally we'll put the inspection pig through. And then you get all this data, give a report that is both provided from a data spreadsheet type report. We provide HTML mapping that can drop onto a GIS so that you can actually overlay it with your GIS. And then we have this new dashboard that's coming out that puts all of the inspection data onto these maps in a way that you can easily view each half meter of pipe. So that's the Aquarius, again, 8-inch to 54-inch. Now, let's say you have a larger pipe or you have a smaller opening that you want to get into. What we use there, and I have to get this picture up here, I think that's not it. I have to find where I put it on my thing here. Well, I'm just going to open it up from CPM pipelines here. Inspection tool is, we have what they call the Aquabrella. And what the Aquabrella is, that's an awful close-up shot, but it is an umbrella type device that can fold up like an umbrella. I'm going to show you some sizes that we have down over on the lower side of this picture, left-hand lower side. We have different diameters, 24, 32, 40-inch, and 60-inch. The sensors are located out on the wings on the outer side, closest to the pipe. And then that can be put into a pipe at a 4-to-1 ratio. So where we can reduce on the Aquarius, we can get a 30% reduction. Here, we can get a 4-to-1 ratio. So a 60-inch tool can go through a 60-inch pipe, but be reduced down to 15-inch opening to get into the pipe. And a good example for really big pipe, like a 96-inch pipe, we can get into it through a 24-inch opening. It uses the exact same UT technology, and except now it can go through a smaller opening to get into the pipe, and we do go up to 96 inches. Did you have a question there? Or?
I did, and I just lost it as I was sitting here, so it'll come back to me. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. So as I was looking at this tool, I was thinking, is this just for circular pipe, or can this also inspect, you know, old school brick arches or just things that have, you know, different shapes?
Yeah, for the Aquabrella has to be a circular pipe.
Has to be a circular. What about the other one that we looked at?
The Aquarius can be, obviously we're measuring ovality. It can be squished into any position you want, as long as it's not more than 30% of its diameter. So if you have a pipe, it's not going to make it through. But yeah, so we're limited to 54 inches in diameter if we're going to be looking at something that's oval in shape. And a lot of those old pipe are usually pretty big diameters, but
Yeah.
as long as it's below 54 inches. And the real key here is, and we haven't really talked about the sensors, they're different frequencies for different type pipes. But the really very important thing to get a high resolution look is the sensors need to be near the pipe wall. And both the Aquarius and the Aquabrella put the sensors up by the edge of the wall, so we get a very good high resolution look at the wall. In any event, this also gives you the same level of detail when you're going through the pipe. It does look at the joints. The only difference from a perspective of what deliverables you get is one that I didn't talk about. Both of them have hydrophones. The Aquarius has a hydrophone, so as you pass past a leak, it would seal that leak so the hydrophone would get quiet, and then as it passes by, it would get loud again. So the Aquarius is going to find leaks here because we don't seal around with like the soft foam pig. The Aquabrella won't give you that data. The third tool that Acquaint has, and again, this is for all types of pipe, is I was going to get this. Let me go back to the home picture here. Is a hand scanner. And the hand scanner is used, I'm sorry, it's forwarding it. I didn't want it to. The hand scanner is used to measure all the same parameters. Obviously, you're not going to get the joint information because you're only doing a straight swash across a line of the pipe or around the circle of the pipe. And it's going to give you that thickness data. It's going to give you 2 layers of information, and it can be used in any kind of pipe. And what it does is it'll give you a scan in one long line as long as you can run. So a lot of people like to use this tool in an ARV pit where you can go down and you have some pipe on the front end and some pipe on the back end. And not that we ever talk about cost, but we just charge by the swipe. That's how the manufacturer does it. So if you can get a really long swipe because you opened up a 20-foot pit and you ran it along, same cost as if you do a 3-foot swipe, but you get all that data. And obviously in metallic pipe, near an ARV, running it across the top of the pipe really gives you a lot of good information. But even I've got a project in Laguna Beach. We're going to do it across the top of a asbestos pipe, and also we're in the asbestos area, which one deliverable that you get more than the others is that we can look at the percentage of the pipe that hasn't had leaching. So what you normally do is you break out a piece of pipe. It's a destructive method. You send it to a lab. They do a phenolphthalein test. The phenolphthalein, it gets brighter in one section and lighter in another section, and you can tell where the leaching has occurred. So if leaching occurred in 25% of the pipe, you're going to see that you've lost 25% of your wall thickness.
Got it.
Yeah. So this scanner gives you the same picture, but you can do it along the entire length of that swipe. Plus,
So do you need to be certified to use this tool, or is this a tool that I could order and I could rent and use it myself?
Well, right now, we are in the process of, uh, again, the company's Acquaint's out of the Netherlands. Right now, we're getting certified, as intensely certified. Steve Burks is back in the Netherlands. I guess he's leaving on Friday, and they're going to go a real deep dive into technology. In the beginning, working with any contractor or any municipality or anybody who wants to lease or rent one of the tools, in the beginning, we would spend a lot of time and do training. So maybe the first 3 or 4 inspection, we would train a municipal crew or a contractor. And then once they feel comfortable enough to do it on their own, then our crew would back off. Maybe we would send one person, but it's really up to the comfort level of the customer. But ultimately, they could lease the tool for a given period of time, pay one fee, and scan as many pipes as they can, and then you pay per foot uh, for the um, for the reports. And
Right.
I think this is it's a way to really lower the overall cost of the process. And I see a lot of municipalities who like to do their own stuff. In the gravity world, we do CCTV, and most agencies have their own truck. You don't have to. Maybe some of the bigger pipe, you might do it with or some of unique pipes, you might hire out somebody, but a lot of it's done by the municipalities or contractors. We expect with the Acquaint technology, that's the direction it's going to go. One of the things I was telling you the other day that is really wonderful about the Acquaint tools is that for the Aquarius and I'm going to go back to the Aquarius here. That's the Aquabrella. Let me see if I can get to the Aquarius. And I don't know why. I'm going to just go back to inspection, Aquarius. All this data is available to you. For the Aquarius, um, uh, it was what I've got to remember where I was. Um, trying to remember what I was doing here. We can, um, the real work is getting that opening and the discharge point. And once people have learned how to do that, you can run the tool through. And when it comes out, unlike any other tool in the industry, you're able to actually get the data from the device, send it to Acquaint, or if Acquaint people are on site, they can look at the data and they can determine if it is high enough quality to be able to get the analysis and all the data you're looking for. And if it's not, then we can run the tool through a second time and make sure that whatever went wrong, I don't know what could go wrong, but they basically can rate the data on its quality on a percentage scale, and they're looking for 85% or better quality so that they can, and they're looking for full coverage. In other words, if there's gaps in the data, they don't want that either. One section of the pipe, you didn't get information. So they can tell that on site. So you're not demobilizing the tool and then having to remobilize it because you didn't get good data.
Is that different than other tools that are out there and how they report?
My understanding is that the other tools on the industry, they take the data with them, and with UT, you're taking actual measurements. I always like using this like with a baby in the womb. You're able to actually measure the size of the head, the feet, everything when you do the UT scan because you can see it. So With the other data, they use magnetic wave um, technology that basically looks, and basically you're looking for disruptions in the signal. So when you're running through smooth, perfect pipe, it's going to have a very smooth, perfect signal. And when it gets through anomalies, it has a change in those, change in the signal. And that change then is interpreted versus base data that they have. So it takes very skilled technicians to figure out what that means. Well, they can't tell how the quality of the data, if they have gaps or anything, until they bring it back to the office and spend, my understanding, like 3 weeks before you know whether you've got good data or not. I can't speak for other companies, but I know that in the past I've heard, and again, being new to the pipe industry, I've heard there's been inspections where they go back and they find it missed a lot of the pipe and they didn't get a full inspection. And then the question, who pays to do it again? And in our case, we're going to do it again at no additional cost. So you know you're going to walk away with a full inspection, which is important, I guess. To me, it is.
Yeah. So are these kind of the three main tools?
These are the three tools that Acquaint provides.
Okay.
The biggest differences, besides the ones I've already talked about, is, how many sensors you want to put on it and how many different frequencies do you need for each type pipe. So each tool is custom built, if you want to call it that. The frame is the frame, but then they're going to attach the sensors that are specific to your project and to your focus to be able to get the data that you're looking for. And we can increase the number of, we usually use between 8 and 32, depending on the size of the pipe and the type of the tool.
Right.
But if somebody wants more data, more higher resolution, right now are using, I think it is 16 sensors. We get 5 readings for each millimeter of pipe. So seeing that millimeter 5 times, the signal's going back and forth about 5 times. So you're basically measuring the same thing over and over 5 times. But let's say you really want to make sure that I've talked to some people in the industry and they really, really want more data at a higher resolution. And it's like everything is, if you're willing to spend the money, then we can put more sensors. But they found that the 16 to 32 sensor is a high enough sampling that you're going to get the information you need to make good decisions. And that's what you're really looking to do, get data to make decisions, which comes to our next series in this
Yeah.
podcast.
So to kind of wrap up this podcast, I think Vince, it sounds like you or myself, because we come in kind of as consultants, right, for the Acquaint products and the tools. We would really work with the municipality, or let's call it the owner, the pipe owner, on what's the most important information for them to gather. Then we come back as a team and say, okay, this is what's the 5 critical, and maybe these are the 5 like medium critical, not as critical, and then we can select a tool based on that. That's what I'm hearing, right? That's how we are gonna, as consultants, come in and work with these pipe owners.
We usually ask for the as-bills, and they're going to give us the idea of the type of the pipe, the age of the pipe, and whether we can get a tool all the way through, or how to get the tool all the way through.
Yeah.
I just did a project for a master plan for Leucadia County Water District in Carlsbad, California. And so our engineer, Levi, and came down and we had the as-bills. We basically came in And what we were looking for is what was the easiest way to get the tool in and what's the easiest way to get the tool out. And if there needed to be any physical modifications. In this particular job, there was 4 force mains. And we found that we could do all 4 without any physical modifications. We just took bypass piping sections that they had already on there for putting like an external pump on it. It was wastewater, and we were able to do it without really any cost on the civil mechanical side. In other cases, I guess we didn't think ahead. People didn't think 50 years ahead, and back east, more importantly, there are pipe failures. And so a lot of pipe don't have that entry and exit points, and that becomes something that has to be looked at and figured out on how we're going to best do that at the lowest possible cost.
Okay. So just so everybody on the podcast knows, this is we wanted to kind of keep this just to the inspection tools, but
Right.
Vince has a plethora of data and reports that we can look at. So I think we're going to schedule another Reline Unknown and take a deep dive into what the data looks like after this tool has been sent through a pipe. And then we'll look at all the different data we're collecting and how we can interpret that data and then share it with the pipe owner so there can be a repair method designed.
Yeah. One of the things that we like to say, and it's important, is that we're an inspection company. We're going to get the data, and in some cases, we're going to make recommendations. And the data is easy to look at, meaning that that's one of the things that I've heard as a complaint about, again, being new. I talked to one of the agencies, and they are very large, and they did a very detailed inspection with a very good tool using the magnetic wave methodology. And the gentleman said to me, I've got this big stack of data, but I really don't know what to do with it. One of the things that Acquaint has done with their dashboard is made it so that you could make a presentation to a city council, a district board, and be able to explain to them, and they can see for themselves very easily, oh, okay, I see why this is, the numbers on every half meter will pop up on your screen as you run your mouse over it, and it says, this wall is less than half the thickness of what it was when it was first in. It gives you an easy way to look at this. And so it's not just about getting the data, it's putting in a format that you can easily understand and use.
And I think we can show everybody that on our next podcast, right? We can actually show them what those reports look like and how easy they are to understand.
Yep.
I know I'm excited to see them and kind of learn more about that as well.
They're kind of neat.
Yeah.
But one last part is that when we get our data, that data can you can use our recommendations, or let's say, being a municipality or such, a lot of them have to work with consulting engineers. But that data also then is available to your consultant if they want to do their own analysis, come up with their own conclusions, and be able to make those recommendations as well. So we're definitely not trying to compete with the engineering companies.
No, we want to work with them.
Yes, absolutely.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Vince. This was wonderful. I can't wait for us to regroup and do another Reline Unknown and look at all these reports. I think that'll be really fun.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.